All right, everyone, thanks for joining me today. Okay, so this is one of those videos that I really enjoy making because it gladdens my heart when we see reports like this. So Goldman Sachs, one of the largest investment banks in the world, put out a report back in 2022, which has since been gaining a lot of traction recently. And essentially says that by 2075, Nigeria will become the fifth largest economy in the world. At $13 trillion. Now, I want to talk about this because this is a very exciting thing. And more importantly than that is who Nigeria will be bigger than by 2075. And I want to go right into this because it's a trend that we've begun seeing, but it's not in the national news. You don't see this information in the media. I've often talked about it on my show, how Nigeria has been steadily growing in its GDP growth. Nigeria has been experiencing anywhere from 4 to 6% growth. The report that Goldman Sachs looked at, and when they pulled this report out and they put it out there, indicated that Nigeria's 6% GDP growth is the indicator to this growth by 2075. It also adds that population growth is also a key indicator to this. But let me go ahead and read for you guys what this says, because I think this is exciting. And it also confirms what I've been talking about on my podcast for a long time now. But I want to go ahead and pause real quick. Let me read for you guys from the article, because this is an article that has been quickly gaining a lot of attention recently, even while the report was put out in 2022. But recently, people have been talking about it because of the steady growth that Nigeria, as well as some of the countries that are mentioned in this article, current activities that are going on. So let me read this for you real quickly. So according to Goldman Sachs, it says right here that China to overtake the United States around 2035, while India should catch up by 2075. So based on Goldman Sachs article and report they released in 2022, the three largest economies by 2075 will be China, India, and the United States, and that in that order. Okay. So by 2075, China would have overtaken the United States. China will become the largest economy in the world, second to India, third place to the United States. But let's keep going here. Let's go to the part that really concerns us. So it says right here that emerging economies led by powerhouse in Asia are growing more quickly than developed ones, even as expansion in real inflation adjusted global GDP slows. Their share of the economy will continue to rise, and their incomes are expected to slowly converge towards those of richer countries. Now, China is forecast to overtake the United States as the world's largest economy around 2035, while India is expected to have the world's second largest by 2075, according to Goldman Sachs research. Now, China, India, and Indonesia slightly outperform our economy's forecasts from 2011, while Russia, Brazil, and Latin America more significantly underperform those projections. We expect that the weight of global GDP will shift even more towards Asia over the next 30 years, our economists wrote in their latest report. In 2050, the world's 5 largest economies, measured in US dollars, are projected to be China, the US, India, Indonesia, and Germany. Looking out to 2075, the prospect of rapid population growth in the likes of Nigeria, Pakistan, and Egypt imply that with appropriate policies and institutions, these economies could become some of the largest in the world. Okay, so to give you context, because it's one thing to read that, let me give you a snapshot context. So, according to World of Statistics, which puts out, they went and gathered all the trends and the projection that Goldman Sachs made in that report, and they just put it in a quick snapshot. Here's what they put out in terms of what we just read. So by 2075, it is projected that China's economy will be $57 trillion. India at $52.5 trillion, so essentially $53 trillion. United States at $52 trillion. Indonesia at $14 trillion. Nigeria at $13.1 trillion. Now, more importantly, I want you to take a look at who Nigeria is beating and is going to beat based on this projection by 2075. So Nigeria will overtake Pakistan, Egypt, Brazil, Germany, okay, Japan at 7.5 trillion, Russia at 6.9 trillion, the Philippines, France, remember France, who's notorious for stealing from African countries and ripping African countries and looting Africa of all its resources. Nigeria is projected to beat France by 2075. Ethiopia, Saudi Arabia at $6.9 trillion. Okay, the same Saudi Arabia that everyone got excited because they revoked some Nigerian visas and they imposed such bans against Nigerians. The same Saudi Arabia that everyone is flocking to right now. Nigeria is projected to beat them. Not just really beating them slightly, but beating them by huge margins. Australia, Canada, okay, at 5.2 trillion. And you have Italy, Malaysia, and South Korea. Okay. Now, that is an eye-opener. Let me give you yet another eye-opener, because I think when you think of 2075, they're thinking, oh, so that's so far away. Okay, that is like most of us wouldn't even be alive by then. I probably would be around 96 years old. So I may not be alive by that time, but certainly my kids and their kids are going to see this, and your kids are going to see this. So that is an exciting thing. But I want to also press upon you that this trend that will lead to these numbers that we've just talked about by 2075 has already begun. As a matter of fact, let me show you when World of Statistics put out by 2028 where Nigeria will be, because we're going to begin seeing this trend. We've started seeing this trend. As a matter of fact, Goldman Sachs wrote this article they put out this report in 2022. So the trend has begun already. Okay, it isn't something that's just going to happen in 2075. It has begun already, which is why they projected this out, as Nigeria has been experiencing a steady GDP growth. Okay. But I want to show you a snapshot again with that World of Statistics put out there, which really kind of put this all in context. By 2028, where the world will look at the largest economies that will be by 2028, and I want to show you where Nigeria again is positioned by that time, and more importantly, who Nigeria will be beating by 2028. So 2028 isn't that far away from now. We're talking about 4 years from now. Okay, I want you to take a look at this. So according to World of Statistics, which put out some numbers based on IMF's projection by 2028. IMF is International Monetary Fund. See what they've talked about here. So here again, China by 2028 apparently will become the largest economy at $43.89 trillion. So $44 trillion. China's economy is projected to be. This is according to IMF. The United States will be second largest by 2028 at 32.69. So basically, by 2028, China would have overtaken the United States as a world's largest economy. That is an eye-opener. India will be third at 19.65 trillion. Japan at 7.38 trillion. And you have Germany at 6.55 trillion. Now, Nigeria, if you go all the way to the 26th list here, Nigeria here is at $1.75 trillion. So Nigeria's economy by 2028, according to the IMF projection, will be at essentially $2 trillion. Nigeria will be beating the Netherlands, the UAE at 1.22 trillion, Switzerland, Ireland, Belgium, Sweden, Israel, and Australia. Now that is by 2028, which then goes back to what we said, that by 2075, Nigeria will beat all these other countries that are above it by 2075. becoming the 5th largest economy in the world. Now, if that doesn't excite you as a Nigerian, I don't know what will. Because I think that this confirms what I've been talking about on this channel. So yes, you hear a lot of negativity. You hear a lot of naysayers. You hear a lot of people who like to push negative things about Nigeria and talk about, oh yes, this country is not going anywhere. Yes, the same country that everyone talks about the insecurity issues, the same country that everyone talks about the inconsistencies with the electrical grid. You know, the same country that everyone talks about, these are scammers. The same country, the same Nigeria is projected by both IMF and Goldman Sachs to be top contenders in the largest economies in the world by 2028 and 2075. That is an amazing thing. That is an amazing thing. Now, to add to that, Goldman Sachs report focused on population growth, right, as a key indicator to this. But I'm going to tell you that while they use population growth, I'm going to also add that population growth isn't the only indicator. Because think about it for a second. Nigeria right now is at 220 million, right? And Nigeria isn't even close to being one of the top 20 economies right now, right? By 2075, Nigeria is going to be beating the UK. Right? So the Nigeria's economy's population will still be larger than the UK. Nigeria is larger than the United Kingdom today, and the UK is beating us. Nigeria's economy is larger than Canada. All these countries, Canada, the UAE, the UK, Australia, all the countries that we've talked about that was listed by 2028 and 2075. Nigeria's population is larger than all of them, and they're all beating us. So what do you think happened between now and 2028? 2050 and 2075 to cause Nigeria's economy, even with the size of the population growth, to beat these other countries who have been beating us this entire time? Let me tell you what it is. Let me tell you exactly what it is. It's what we're seeing today in Nigeria. See, I mentioned earlier on that Nigeria, and this is what I think Goldman Sachs also saw, that Nigeria is experiencing a lot of boom. This is what, and I've coined this. This is Nigeria's industrial revolution right now. Nigeria is experiencing what's called the industrial revolution, which is essentially Nigeria is experiencing a boom in various sectors of the economy. Entertainment. How the entertainment industry rapidly added billions of dollars to the Nigerian GDP ever since in the last 5-10 years. So we're looking at Nollywood, we're looking at Afrobeat. So that's one part. Nigeria's fintech industry, I did a video not too long ago where I focused on this, is experiencing a huge rapid boom. And this is projected to even be upwards as $10 trillion economy later on. So that's another part. And then you have the oil sector, which obviously by 2075, oil isn't going to be significant anymore. However, there are other byproducts of oil that will come out, fossil fuel, gas. These are always going to be significant, right? And so with the Dangote's refinery that was just built, I think these are things that are causing rapid growth, and these are things that are going to cause the rapid growth for Nigeria. So they're indicators. It's not just population. So just because Nigeria is going to grow in population doesn't mean that Nigeria's economy is expected to be large because of the population. No, the population growth is one. Also, the fact that Nigerians are expressing significant growth in sectors of the economy, manufacturing, tech, entertainment. This is what's adding to it. Now, here's what is exciting to me, right? Because the trend that we're seeing right now is people leaving Nigeria. So you find a lot of the jackpot conversation, people leaving Nigeria. So that is expected to still happen. So the US by 2050, according to New York Times article that was released not too long ago, US by 2050 would be more migrants. They project that the United States will have more migrants in this country than native born by 2050. So there's about to be a geographical shift all over the world. It's also projected that 1 in 4 in the United States will be of Nigerian ancestry. That's what they project. So I, based on looking at this, project that we're going to keep seeing Nigerians leaving Nigeria to the United States all the way till 2050. We're going to see this. However, we're going to see a reverse of this around 2055, perhaps 2060, which we're going to see a reverse of this with people going back to Nigeria to build Nigeria up, to get Nigeria to the number we just read by 2075. I think that that's what's going to happen. Because by 2075, they're projecting that Nigeria's economy will be around 700 million, 730 million to be exact. That's what they're projecting by 2075. So by 2050, Nigeria is already projected to be the third largest in terms of population, the third largest population by 2050, behind India and China. So India is expected to be number one. China is expected to be number two. Nigeria is expected to be number three at 400 million. So Nigeria will slightly beat the United States, who is projected to be around 375 million by 2050. By 2075, Nigeria is expected to be at 733 million. So that's going to add to that $13 trillion in GDP that we're seeing. However, I think that what we're going to see is that when we get to 2060, you're going to find the migration of people from the West back to Nigeria. I think that the U.S., even while U.S. will still be significant, I mean, it's projected that U.S. will be the third largest economy. So the United States is still going to be a contender by 2075. So you're not going to rule the United States off. However, I think that people are going to see leading to 2075, by 2028, by 2050, people are going to see that while the U.S. will still be a favorable place, it isn't going to be as rosy as many people think today. And so a lot of people are going to find opportunities in many other parts of the world, China, India, Nigeria, and a couple of other places. So I think that people are going to begin moving away. So the U.S. is probably going to experience a huge population dip where Nigerians especially are going to be moving back to go fix their country. We're going to see this before 2075. We're going to. I think we're going to start to see this at least around by 2050, 2055 is where we're going to start to see this, where people are going to be moving back. I will be here by then. So I don't think I'll be here by 2075. You know what I'm saying? I'll probably be around 96 years old. I don't think I'll be here, but my children and their children are going to experience this. Your children are going to experience when Nigeria, right? Nigeria is going to experience such an economic boom and become a viable and a contender. When they're talking about the 5 largest economy, your country, Nigeria, will be put up there. That is an amazing thing. Yes, the same Nigeria that everyone likes to dump on. The same Nigeria. See, I've been telling you guys this for a long time, that a lot of the things you're seeing in the news are propaganda. Now, I didn't write the article. Goldman Sachs wrote the article. They did the report. I didn't put this report out. Goldman Sachs did. So you can't tell me that I'm fabricating stuff. You can't tell me I'm making stuff up. The IMF puts these things out because of what you're not going to see in the media. Because of what you're not going to see in the mainstream media. Have you noticed? I don't know if you've noticed this, but I certainly have. The mainstream media, the ones that have dogged us and have destroyed our image for years, have not been. They've led off those negative propaganda by Nigeria. Have you noticed this? The CNN, the MSNBC, the Fox News, the big mainstream media. Have you noticed that in the last few years, they have not been talking about Nigeria in a negative way? You know why? It's because they've seen these types of trends. Have you noticed that? It's because they know this. They've seen this. And they've seen that Nigeria is going to be a key player to their own economic prospects. Nigerians are going to be a key player. This is why they've let out. And they don't talk about Nigeria in a negative way anymore, because they're seeing the growth that Nigeria is having. They're seeing the growth that Nigerians are having. So to those ones who like to say, go fix your country, apparently we're going to. Apparently we're going to. Apparently, Nigeria is going to be a significant thing to where people like you are going to be moving to Nigeria. Do you understand what's going on here? Because I did a video last year, and I talked about when I looked at the projection, and I looked at the trend, I looked at similar data like this. And I talked about how Nigeria, it's almost as if I knew about this report, even while I didn't know about the report. I talked about the projection that Nigeria is going to be a significant thing. That it's only a matter of time that Nigerians are going to build and fix their country. I talked about this, and I talked about how China has been around for 4,000 years, if not more. And it wasn't only until 30, 40 years ago that China woke up and we began to see the boom in China. And they've been around for 4,000 years. I talked about India has also been around for thousands of years, but modern India has been around for at least almost 200 years, if not more, right? And we only saw their rapid growth 30 years ago. Now, what was the point of what I was saying? I was saying that with the key things the contrast I drew with these two countries, India and China, was that the citizens of these countries were resilient. When you find in science, technology, engineering, and math, which are major areas for development, especially in technology, you find these two countries. And based on their history of being dedicated, or being industrious, or being hardworking, or being determined, it was only a matter of time that China and India were going to become significant. It was only a matter of time. So I used that to draw the comparison with Nigeria. That what we're seeing with Nigeria in terms of Nigerians dominated in STEM fields, science, technology, engineering, math. And now we're seeing entertainment, and we're seeing all these other areas that Nigerians are dominating. It was only a matter of time. I did that video last year. I'm going to link that video so you can go watch it. This is what we're saying now. It is only a matter of time. It's the same thing that happened here in the United States. It was only a matter of time for Americans, citizens of the United States, back in the Industrial Revolution, due to their hard work and dedication to build a country. It was only a matter of time for the United States to become what it is today. You see, the one thing that you need to bet on is people. That is the one thing you need to bet on. If you're going to bet on anyone, you bet on people. If you're going to invest in people. Because when you see a people very determined, very industrious, very capable, very intelligent, very hardworking, very, very educated, when you see these factors in a people, that's what you bet on. Because it's only a matter of time for that to result in a geographical change in their location, in their status, in the economic situation in the world. It's only a matter of time. So when you talk about Nigerians and you talk about how Nigerians are the most educated ethnic groups in the United States, you talk about how 77% of black doctors are Nigerians. You talk about Nigerians founded Afrobeats. You talk about how Nigerians founded Nollywood. You talk about now Nigeria is the economy in Nigeria is growing at 4 to 6% GDP growth year by year. When you see a people of this caliber do such things, it's only a matter of time for the country as a whole to change. It doesn't take a rocket scientist to figure that one out. So to everyone who likes to dump on us, to say, hey, go fix your country, apparently we're going to. Apparently we're going to. And you're going to be moving over there. But you're welcome. You see, you're welcome. See, Nigerians are such great people that we're not going to, because we're not doing it today. See, the immigrants that live in Nigeria don't experience any hostility in Nigeria. They don't. They live amongst us peacefully. Indians have been living in Nigeria for years, peacefully. Chinese, Lebanese, Americans. Been living in Nigeria for years. They've never experienced, and I have no reason to believe that it will change. But it's amazing when we live in these other people's countries, we experience such animosity in their countries. But you're welcome. You can go and live in Nigeria, because the good thing for black people all over the world as a result of this is that you can now have a place that you can call your own. A place of sanctuary where we can go to and not be pulled over due to the color of our skin. That is amazing. That we're not going to be discriminated against based on the color of our skin. That the justice system is going to deal harshly on us based on the color of our skin. The people in Nigeria, by this time, we're talking about 2028. These are not times that are far away. 2028, 2050, 2075, they're not far away at all. You can have a country in Africa that every black person can be proud of. Man, I wish I was a young man today that I could live in my 30s and 40s during that time. But nonetheless, it's a good thing for my children. Because my children can go to Nigeria and live in Nigeria without having to be discriminated against based on the color of their skin. Your children, your kids today, the ones that you just gave birth today, or the ones that are teenagers, they can see these things happen. Where one day there's a country for black people that is significant enough to shield, protect, and provide a lifestyle for black people all over the world and be a contender amongst the other large economies in the world. It's an amazing thing. If you're a Nigerian today, I've said it in my other video, you need to start investing because I've begun investing in Nigerian fintech industry. That's where your money needs to be at. Because that's how you're helping with the growth of your country. If you're a Nigerian today, do what your God-given talent is. Use your talent like you always are using it. Don't let anyone lie to you. If you're a Nigerian today, have pride in who you are as a Nigerian. And don't let the naysayers, those ones who are obviously talking about negativity because they see the potential in you. If you're a Nigerian today, understand that you are going to be the talk of town for a long time. If you're a Nigerian today, keep your head up and hold your head up. Because I'm telling you, you are formidable. You are not to be discounted. See, when they talk about the African country that is going to be the 5th largest, they're not talking about South Africa. They're not talking about Ghana. It is Nigeria. It is Nigeria. Now, I understand that this might make some people have some heartache. I understand that. But it is what it is. If you're a Nigerian today, hold your head up. Do you understand this? And don't listen to the negativity and the naysayers. Because apparently you are doing things that many people aren't doing. Apparently you are shaping the narrative, changing and bringing black excellence and making the black race a thing of pride. If you're a Nigerian today, hold your head up. Lead like you've been leading. Others will follow. Don't let anyone dog you. Don't let anyone talk down to you. Don't let anyone make you feel small. Don't let anyone. Because guess what? They see the best and they see the potential in you. The world sees it. And you're going to begin getting the type of respect that many European countries have been getting. You are going to begin getting that. Because you are a significant group of people. Don't let anyone talk down to you. All right, thank you all for watching. Please make sure you like this video, share the content, subscribe to the channel, and I will see you all next time.
Det finns ingen annan där som kan stå här by my side, oh hi. Sättet du rör på det får mig att dö för dig baby. För de här yardis, de vill ju bara dra ner oss. Men du är fett och vanlig. Och det jag lägger av min tid, jag vill ha det